evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ayomito Ayodele of Startup Court. We are here this evening. I'm here with Tayo El Nathan and Kirsha Campbell, and we're here to talk to you about credit. This is number 5 in a series of 6 webinars on financial literacy, and today we'll be talking about your credit score. We'll be talking about borrowing and paying back. We'll be talking about types of credit available to you. Like I said earlier, this is the 5th of 6 webinars, and over the last 4 webinars before this one, we spoke broadly about financial literacy. We spoke about assets, the things that give you the ability to earn income, whether it's your background, whether it's the people you know, whether it's your education or skill that you possess, whether formally learned or informally learned. Then we went further and we spoke about banking and how the banking system supports you and how you can use the banking system to your advantage. Subsequent to that, we went ahead and we discussed in detail about our last session in particular. Yeah, so today we'll be focusing on credit. I'll be talking about your credit score and the things that you can do to help you or the things that you are doing that are hurting you. And that's our plan for today. Now, to be able to bring this event to you, we have enjoyed the support of a number of organizations, and we would like to acknowledge them. The Africa Center, out with offices in Calgary and Edmonton, have been instrumental in ensuring that we're able to bring this webinar to you. And we want to make it clear that the Calgary Foundation has been the wind in the sails of these events. So we just want to acknowledge them and let you know that they have supported us in bringing this series to you. So without taking any more time, I'd like to introduce my subject matter expert. You know Tayo El Nathan, we've been here the last 4 webinars. So Kirsha, it's good to have you here. Do you want to tell everybody a bit about yourself?
Hey, thank you everyone. I'm happy to be here. Pretty excited about the vision and the work that I see happening to really educate, more and more persons, especially in our community. So thank you for the work. So I'm a twin mom. I wear many hats. I'm an author, speaker. I'm a CPA by profession as well. And I am excited. And, one of my commitments is really helping businesses, organizations, individuals too, in the realm of financial education, particularly helping them to understand how is it that you can increase your cash flow, your profits through setting up strategic systems and processes. So education is the way. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for choosing to spend the evening with us. So without taking more time, I'm going to jump right into the subject matter. What is credit? The beautiful thing about our location in North America is that, like they say, America runs on Duncans. The Western world runs on credit. Everybody borrows. The largest borrower in the world is the United States of America, one of effectively used to be the largest economy globally. So it's clear that credit is a huge part of the system and how things work around here. And credit is basically somebody allowing you to spend the money that you don't have. Now, what you spend it on is your business. But the thing about it is that the person expects you to pay back. And he expects you to pay back with interest most of the time. And he'll most likely give you some time to pay back. And you have taken that money on the back of your capacity to earn income in the future. So that's my own definition of credit. Tayo, do you want to add to that?
I think you said it pretty well. Credit is the ability to use somebody else's money as your own for a short period of time to purchase things or to do business or to transact with as you would, as if it was your own money. The key is though the key to having good credit or dealing with credit is to pay back as soon as you can. So I think you said it well, Doctor.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So Kirsha, you want to add to that? You're the expert.
Yes, I'd love to add, and I want to use an analogy. So I'm home from Usain Bolt, right? The fastest person in the world. And when we think about sports and, you know, athletics competitions, at the end, you're given a prize, a badge. So first, second, third. So I want persons to think of credit as like a badge that you're given, right? And that badge represents how your ability to pay off your loans. It also represents, you know, a part of your history. What has been your track record? You know, are you known for paying your bills on time? Are you known for not paying? So all these activities will lead to you getting that badge, which is your credit score. So we'll dive into the details a bit, which are pretty important. But basically, it's just that badge, which is showing, are you trustworthy? Are you able to repay your loans or pay your bills on time and so forth?
Now, I picked that up. You just said something about being trustworthy, right? Trust is effectively social capital. And where I come from, trust is scarce. You don't find trust lying around. The system here seems to have built trust into numbers, which is effectively what has become the credit score. Am I right? Can I put it that way?
Exactly. You got it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm going to ask the question that you asked me to ask everybody. Why should I be concerned about my credit? My credit score. Why should my credit score bother me? Why should I be worried about credit at all? I earn a good paycheck. I can spend off cash. So who cares?
Is that for Toya first? Or?
Yeah, Tayo, go ahead.
You're asking if why should I be concerned about my credit score? Do I need credit at all?
Why should you be concerned? That's what he said. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I go one step further. Do we need credit cards at all? You know, why should we be concerned about credit? The system here makes it pretty necessary that you are on top of your credit score. Except you have like millions and millions of dollars in the bank, at some point in time, you're gonna need to purchase something on credit. Even if you're gonna pay back within the next 6 months, you're gonna need to buy a car. You're gonna need to maybe buy a house, or you're gonna need to do business. You're gonna need an operating line of credit. You're gonna need an operating, you know, a loan. And so if you go to the bank and you sit in front of the banker, the only information they have from you walking up the street is your credit score. They don't know you from anywhere. They don't know your mom. They don't know your dad. They don't know anybody about it. They don't know your family. They don't know what you've been doing with your life. But when they see the credit score, they know what you have been doing and what you're capable of doing. And so it's your presentation in the financial world. And if cash is king, is capital is power, you got to present properly. And so that's why you need to be concerned about your credit score.
Okay. And I'll add to Toya's point that credit, your credit score gives you options. It's as simple as that. So let's think of it. If your score is 700 versus 300, it's a different set of options that are presented to you. So you're going to get a different category for mortgage for your vehicle. So your credit score is important because it gives you options. It can help to determine where you're going to live, which community you're going to live. It's going to help to decide what type of vehicle you will drive. You know, other loans, if you can get short-term access to loans, overnight loans, you know, those sometimes you're in a bind and you just need some access quickly. Having a credit score, the type of credit score will help to determine that. And now, in more recent times, what is even happening is that depending on the job that you're going after or in certain deals, they are looking at your credit score. So that is why it is so important. And as we dive in, we're going to see that your credit score, your credit card is just a part of determining your credit score. There are other things that help to determine your credit score as well. So in a nutshell, your credit score, you need to be concerned about it. It gives you options. It can change the trajectory, the narrative of your life, your family, generations to come, how you help others too.
Kirsha, you're dropping some interesting words. So the first word you dropped was trust, right? Then you just dropped another one, options. And I can already see how that plays out. Because the average immigrant arrives the country, comes in, the average, at least I'm speaking as somebody who came in from Nigeria, the average Nigerian immigrant in Canada is a professional, most likely came in with between $5,000 and $10,000 in cash of their own money. But those guys, most of the time, cannot get a car loan. So they have to take $5,000 in cash and walk into a house of cars or any of those kind of high interest rate dealerships to pick up a car to drive for the winter, hoping that they can build up their credit score over the next 4, 5, 6 months, and then they can have sufficient information about them in the system to be able to procure the kind of vehicle that will be better suited to their lifestyle and their experience and where their life is at, basically. So I totally see where you're coming from when you talk about options. Definitely the kind of car loan you would get when you have no information is different from the kind of car loan you will get when you have a credit score of 700 and beyond, which is very different from the kind of car you will get when you have a credit score of 350 and below. So I totally see where you're coming from when you're speaking about options. At this juncture, I just want to recap why we are here and what we're doing. My name is Dr. Ayodele of Startup Court, and this is webinar 5 of 6 in the Way Out of Rat Race project, brought to you by Startup Court. This project is brought to you in collaboration with the Africa Center and the Calgary Foundation. My co-presenter, Tayo Nathan, we've done this on a number of occasions, both at on her platform at LCC Media Foundation, as well as on the Startup Court platform, talking about financial literacy. She's a CPA like I am. And Kirsha, who is our subject matter expert today, is also a CPA. So that's just what we're doing. And today we are talking credit, all things credit. So I'm going to come back. We've spoken a bit about credit scores and credit cards. I'm just going to ask one simple question that I believe everybody will want to know. As a new immigrant, how do you build credit? Nobody knows me. I'm new in country. I have a bag of cash, but the cash is not enough to buy the assets I need. I can't buy a car. I can't buy a house. If I bought a car, then I have nothing left. If I can't buy a house, what do I need to do as a new immigrant?
Okay, so when we think about how we're going to build the credit, we first have to think about what makes the credit. It's like you're going to build a house. You got to know what you need, right? So as we said earlier, what makes up your credit score is one, how you spend, and of course your track history. So they're going to look at the financial institutions. They look at your track record. How is it that you spend? You know, do you pay a mortgage on time, your rent, your vehicle note, your phone bill? You know, they're looking at these things. How is it that you're paying them? And then all that will help to give you that number, other details. However, let's say you are just here, you're new, or even if you're considering to come to Canada, start early. So one, you might not be able to get a credit card, right? How is it that, what is the next thing you can do? The thing you can do, if you can't get access to a credit card, you can, one, ask for what's called a secured credit card, right? So what that means is, let's say you do have some cash, 500, 300, whatever you have. You can go to the financial institution and you can say, I have this money, I want to put it on a secured credit card, and they do that. And then you are able to start spending and developing that history from how you manage your credit card, right? So that's one way in which you can start building your credit. The other thing is that if you know a family member, a friend, you can say, okay, this is my situation. They trust you, you trust them. And you can say, can I get on your account, right? And you are now on their account, and how they spend and how you spend will start building that credit score. So it's important to make sure it's somebody that you trust, because their spending, their habits can impact you negatively as well. The other thing you want to do is just pay your bills on time, right? So if you're taking out your phone bill, if you have to pay rent, mortgage, whatever loans you have, pay them on time. And when you say pay on time, let's say the bill is due on the 25th. Think about it. If you pay it on the 25th, it might not be updated until the 26th or the 27th, depending on how you pay it. So you want to try to even pay it a couple of days earlier to give that processing time to show that you did pay early. You also don't want to apply for a whole lot of credit in a short time. That means you don't want to go to Canadian Tire, you don't want to go to Walmart, the banks, and applying for a credit card from everybody, right? Because that's going to be a red flag on the system to say that, okay, what's up with this person? Why are they asking for this credit? They might be in need. They're not going to be a good, trustworthy person for us to really extend additional credit to. So that's something else you don't want to do as you're building your credit early. So these are some ways which you can start to build your credit. And I definitely, again, say start early, right? And you can use a credit card. There are lots of credit cards you can get as well. No interest, 0 interest for the year. You can get points on them to spend further. So you can explore that. However, with managing a credit card, it's important to pay it on time. And that's a different management and not max, all those things. So those are some of the ways in which you can start building your credit as a new person, or you're thinking about coming here too. Yeah.
Fantastic. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat while we are continuing the conversation. We'll look in there and we'll respond to them from time to time. Tayo, from a credit building perspective, Kirsha has spoken about getting a secured credit card, right? Going to a financial institution that can provide a secured credit card. She's also spoken about paying your bills on time. I know there's something about the statement date on a credit card versus, I know there's something about dates on a credit card, basically. And my own personal experience has been pay that thing before the statement date, because if you wait till the statement date, you're already getting interest. You don't want interest. So what's been your own experience as far as that is concerned?
Well, with regards to paying my credit card, handling my credit card, first of all, so people say that when you don't have money is when you should go get credit cards. I disagree. I say when you don't have money, don't have any credit card. Try and live within your means, because if you do, you're gonna max it out. It's proven over and over and over again, because you're just gonna keep putting $20 in, putting $40 there, and $20 there, and $40 there, and then eventually you're gonna look at it, but it was just $20. No, it was like $10, $20, and $6, $40, right? So if you know you don't have money, you're broke, cut that credit card up. That is my experience. I was speaking from experience, because when I moved here, I didn't have any credit card. Then I went to that grocery store that gives you credit card when you're shopping. I'm not gonna mention the name, that one. Everybody lives here. They give you credit cards when you're shopping, and your brain is not totally there. The blue one. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it. Your brain is not totally there. So you're like, is it a credit card? Sure. I have 4 children. My mother-in-law is there with me, and they want to give me a credit card. Whatever. Sure, give it to me. So I take the credit card, and I lost my job. And then, of course, I ran over the limit, and I couldn't pay it. And then it became, an abscess. And so my credit was bad. And then what did I do? I paid it off. I paid it. It was on my credit for 5 years, was it? And every time I walked into a bank for a mortgage or for any application, I said, listen, I paid it up. I took responsibility. I paid it. Every time I have to explain myself, it was a bad time. I was on this and that happened, and and I paid it up, and it was always coming up. And then, of course, I walked into the bank and I did that thing that Kirsha talked about, how you get a secure credit card. It happens, it's a thing. I gave them $500 of my money, and they gave me a credit card, and I was able to repeat my credit card from then. And so the lesson I learned from that is, if you know you don't have money, you're not working, things are tight, don't have a credit card. Because when you're finally working and you finally can afford it, you'd have gotten so much in debt that you won't be able to catch up, because those things have a way of racking up credits and fees and charges, and I know it's tough, it's really tough, but truth of the matter is, it's because things will always turn around. Everything is in a circle, right? Things are gonna turn around. You won't always be this bad. You're gonna get a job. You're gonna grow. Things are gonna change. It's better for you not to have that mortgage on you, right? And so, but what I do in my credit card now is I'm using my credit card, the one that has points. And when I spend the money, I'm transferring the money right back on it. So I don't know that I wait till the statement dates. So if you look at my credit card, I'm always just putting money on it, $20, $50, however I spend, just because I try not to spend my credit card except I have the money. Because I've been beaten, because that thing stays on your credit card for 5 years or 7 years. Like 7
years, actually. 7 years.
So yeah, 7 years. And it's very difficult and embarrassing for you to sit in front of a relationship manager and they're like, so what is this? And I coming from a very ethnic background, you go into the bank and you meet these little young ones in front and asking you, why didn't you pay your credit card on time? And you're like, hey, Lord have mercy. You understand what I'm saying. So you're a bit like, why are you asking? Life happened to me. Life happens to all of us. And so people don't understand that life does happen, especially when you're dealing with those who haven't had to deal with life before. Because you're an immigrant, life will happen to you. Life is good, you're immigrant, life will happen to you. So if you don't have money, don't have a credit card. If you have money, get a credit card that has some benefits or rewards. And as you spend it, pay it off. Did I answer your question?
Basically, what I get from you is that you don't care what date it is. You just pay the thing off once you spend
it. Once bitten, twice shy. If I spend it, I'm putting it back. I'm not messing about it. If I spend $20, I'm putting it right back. I have an automatic deposit from my debit account into my credit card account. And if I cannot afford it, like I said earlier, I don't take my thank God that Costco doesn't let you have credit cards, a debit card, right? Or they do. But I don't take my purse or my wallet into Costco. I take the cash and that's it. Because Costco has a way of speaking to me negatively. Because I end up overbuying.
I hear you. So Kirsha, do you want to talk about statement dates and payments? I know there's something in there.
Sure. So I want to also add to that, one of the things with managing just how your credit card is handled is that, let's say your credit card is $100 limit. You don't want to go over $75. I mean, there are times where you might be, but the ideal is not to get that credit card limit, that spending over $75, because once you're almost maxed out your credit card, again, that's a calculation they use to give you a credit score, and it will, the more maxed out you are, they're going to say, okay, this person, should have a negative score. It will negatively impact your credit score. So on your credit card statement, you're going to see the due date. The due date is when the payment should be received, right? So after the due date, then you're going to start have interest accumulating on your credit card. So if the due date is the 25th, you want to get the payment processed, recorded, hitting your records by the 25th. If you pay it on the 25th, depending on your institution and how you're paying, it might not be recorded until the 26th or 27th. And again, you might get an interest there. So again, it is important to look at the dates, and also they're going to have the minimum payment and the full balance. Again, that is another thing. If you are just paying the minimum, then you're going to have interest on the unpaid amount. So those are some other things with the credit card, but with the date, definitely be aware of the payment dates.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead,
sorry. So, one of those credit card companies, if you look at their statement, and I've seen this before, and you say it takes you 10 years to pay off $2,000 if you're paying this minimum payment alone. Have anybody seen that on their statement? And the first day I saw that, I'm like, whoa, $2,000, 10 years of minimum payment.
They have made more than $2,000 in interest, stuff you.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to process that, but I'm like, well, thank you, bank, for letting me know that it's gonna take me the better part of my adult life to pay off $4,000, but otherwise, keep spending. Not
okay. So basically, if I'm hearing you well, if you don't need it, stay away from it. But you need an imprint in the system somehow. So you can't afford to not have any credit. Now, I'm going to use my role because I'm the one sharing this conversation. I'll take the easy question. What are the types of credit you have? You have credit cards, you have lines of credit, you have mortgages, you have personal loans, you have unsecured loans, you have secured debt. So those are high level, those are the various types. Now, Bukola is asking, what are the conditions a new account needs to fulfill to qualify for a line of credit? I'm not a banker, so I can't answer that, but I know that the expectation is that one, you exist in the system. Nobody's going to give you a line of credit if you arrived yesterday. It's just not going to happen. End the story. You need to be in the system. You need to have fairly decent income compared to the line of credit that you're asking for. You need to have a good relationship with the bank that you're talking to, because when you're talking about a line of credit, most of the time it comes down to, oh, we know you well enough, we've seen your history, we've seen who you are, what you do, and we think you can handle it. Kirsha, Tayo, either of you can chime in on that.
Yes, I'll chime in a bit there. So I like to look at it, ask yourself the hard questions. You know, like growing up, if I'm going to ask my mom, I want to go somewhere, I'm going to have my case ready. What if this, I'm ready to answer the question so I can get to go. So in the same way, think of it. If you are going to a financial institution to say, I want a line of credit, looking at your situation, are you likely to do it? Or even if a friend comes to you to say, okay, I want to borrow some money, what are some of the things you would look at to lend your friend the money, you know, that kind of thing. So one of the things you're going to look at, the main thing is, will we get our money back? It just boils down to that. They want to know that, okay, we're like giving you a line of credit of 5,000. If you use it, are we going to get it back, right? Banks are business. So they want to make sure they can get that money back. So they're going to look at a few things, your ability to repay. So income, they're going to look at your income, assets, if you own this. So they're looking at these things to see if you can actually repay them. So these are some of the things. And as a new person, it's not easy because you might not have access to all those things. So again, it might be that you go the secured credit card way, or you might say, okay, I can use this as a security. They might look at that, but it's a little different when you're brand new, right? So those are some of the things they will look at for the line of credit application.
Tyler, do you want to put anything on top of that?
No, I think Kirsha said it well. Ability to repay, good job, good credit reports, good relationship with your bank manager. Sorry, your relationship manager. I think those are about it. Maybe if you have a house already, they might give you one of those home equity line of credit, because you know that's another way. You know, you can ask for it when you go get a mortgage and say, hey, I want a home equity line of credit, and that can also work, you know. But I try not to go really detailed in banking things, simply because products change all the time, right? There's lots of products that change, and so if I say something here, it might have changed, it might not be as accurate as that. What I will say though is, if you're in a bad credit situation, truly it will change. Time washes away a lot of things. Well, time and knowledge, right? So don't feel bad, or don't think this is the end. It's going to be tight for a moment, but there's hope, because 2-3 years is going to turn around again. And this happens to everybody. People just won't tell you. I had a bad credit situation for at least 4 or 5 years, you know, and this is me being a financial expert and accountant, you know, so life happens. I'm just saying that to encourage whoever might feel that their credit is not in the tip-top shape and that they're ashamed of it. I won't be ashamed of it. I will find information to go fix it. Do you know what I mean? So if you have questions, here will be to ask, or go to your bank and put a plan in place for the next 3 months, 6 months of what you could do to turn these things around. It happens. And the good thing is, after 7 years, it cleans off. Now nobody knew I had a bad credit situation. So
nice. Well said, Tayo. Thanks for Thanks for choosing to be vulnerable that way. That's I do appreciate that, and that lets people know. So I'm just on high. I just dropped a link in the chat for everybody. City Lending Centers is an organization that provides cash-backed credit cards to BIPOC people, understanding clearly the challenges that we face, whether as new immigrants who have not made any mistakes yet, or as old immigrants that have burned the house down and need to start rebuilding, as the case may be. If your situation is one where you need a cashback credit card to restart the process of building your credit, City Lending Centers is an organization you can look to. It's run by Margaret Adekunle, who happens to be ex-ATB, and she's well versed in the
all
financial.
four banks. She's
Oh,
been
sorry,
managed as
all four
big
banks.
five. And she's very passionate about
Basically been there, done that as far as personal banking is concerned, and she's very passionate about this cashback credit situation, this bad credit situation. So you can actually go to their website or reach out to them, and they will support you in that process. Now, while we're at it, please, if you have a question, put your questions in the chat. Some people will say 500 is a good number. Some people will say 700. I think everything 690 and below is considered to be poor or fair.
However, you could get a mortgage on 550 at a time.
You can get a mortgage on 550. It's just that the rates will be, the 550 will be priced into the rate at which you get the mortgage. So if you have 550 as your credit score, and you want to buy the same house as somebody who has a 730 or 750 credit score, the risk as far as the banks are concerned is very different. So they're going to price you at your 550 credit score very differently from the guy who has a 750 or 800 credit score. So I think that's the key thing for us to be aware of. So Kirsha, I'm saying good credit is 690 and above. Am I close to the mark or am I off the mark, please?
Yeah, you're very much in the mark. I mean, it's a range. So depending on the institution, on average, under 550, some persons will say is on the lower end. Above that, is good. 760 and above is excellent. So they're different, groupings of it. But you want to, as you said, that those figures that you said are good to use. And another thing, it's not just to say your score, which score is good, it's what makes up the score. So remember, just for those who probably came on after, they're using how much you owe. That's about 30% of that will determine your credit score, the length of your credit history. That's why it's important to start working on this early. New credit applications. So if they see, okay, you're applying to 10 stores, Walmart, Canadian Tire, Superstore, the banks, they're using that to really, give you a number as well, the type of credit that you use. And if you have collection items that you're just items that persons are calling you, why don't you pay? Why don't you pay? Then again, as Talia said, it's so important to get help. So it's not just to ignore the calls, it's to probably have a payment arrangement so they can take those reports off your credit score. It's so important. So I'm really happy that Talia brought up that point.
Yes. I know that if you get a collection call and you speak to them, sometimes you get a very rude person but if you can get past that initial rudeness and maybe get to their manager and actually speak to somebody who actually has sense, it's better that you talk to them and get yourself on some kind of a payment plan than ignoring them and be angry at them, because it's very easy. First of all, you're calling me, my credit is shut, I don't have the money, and then you're yelling at me, like, wait, am I going to manufacture this thing? So once again, my point is, it's better to have the conversation early on. One thing you should not do, because usually when these things happen, is don't get into one of those weird car loans that gives you 30% interest rate and say, I'll pay it off. You never get out, right? So don't make rash decisions on the because of this, right? I've seen people say, oh yeah, and I needed a car, and when I got into this car loan and it's 30%, and you're like, 30%, yeah.
On a car.
On a car.
It's an asset.
Yeah, so by
Of
the time
which
the
the
car is
value will be
dead,
less
you're still
than
paying.
the loan by the time.
Yeah, and if
Yeah,
it's a Ford, shouldn't say that, but by the time the car is dead, you still be paying for that loan.
yeah.
You know, so
Not bad.
you gotta, so yeah, get education, educate yourself, tackle it head on if that's a problem.
Okay, so can you get out of your car loan? I think you can. I think you just need to pay it down. The question is, do you have that kind of cash sitting around?
Well, the thing is, car notes are interesting. But the thing with the car note is you might have to roll it in. Like if you had an older car, you had a loan on it, you might go to like a bigger dealership, right? And car sales people like to sell cars and they'll get you whatever loan to secure, right? So I would say go get into one of those cars that don't die for 10 years so that you'll be able to really stay there and pay it off. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying not to mention any car names, but if you, so because you just have to roll it up into another one and eventually you pay it down. But it's tricky. It is tricky and it's difficult, but yes, you can. Can a credit card cancellation raise a red flag on your credit score? What do you mean credit card cancellation?
I
I
canceled my
think you
credit
mean when you
card.
close the credit card, like if you cut it up, I'm not using it. So yes, it will. It will. So it's always better to pay the credit card balance off and not close the credit card,
Leave the
right?
credit on, yes.
Yes, especially if you have a whole lot and it's again a red flag and they're going to see why is it, use it with caution, you know? So why is it that you're closing and they put additional notes? And yes, so closing credit cards will affect your credit
You
score.
can call them to reduce or no longer to
Yes,
increase your limit. So you know
yes.
the way they call you every 3 months, hey, we have a good deal for you. Would you like me to add another $10,000 to your credit card? You can say no, actually bring it down. Because they will call you. So if you don't want to cancel it, have it reduced. I think that's better. Just have it open. Yeah. If you have 5 credit cards and you don't use them, will it affect your credit rating? I don't think it will affect your credit rating.
Yeah, it's just going to show that you have this. What it does is, remember, your credit score is determined on your track record. So yes, you have this credit, however, you're not using it. So there's really nothing. It's just a part. It's like you know, on an exam, you have different ranks, different scores for different questions. So with your credit score, there are different scores that make up the overall credit score. So yes, having the limit is good. However, not using it, you're not getting any impact on your credit score because it's not saying I pay on time, I pay late. It's just showing, it will just impact that part of the credit score breakdown that is linked to the amount of credit that you have.
Okay, somebody's saying here, why do they offer credit cards so easily then? I mean at the stores.
Oh, because that's the only way they get to sell if you don't have money. If you don't have money and they give you a credit card, then you're gonna buy what you need. They make a sale, they take that money, poof, they are happy. You're the one stuck with the bill.
And remember too that credit, it's a business, right? And with this, you know, to this on quickly, that credit cards are not all bad. There are lots of benefits that you can get from having a credit card. Why it becomes so bad is when we don't pay it off. We have all this interest. We don't use it wisely, like what Toya said, not using it responsibly, not paying it off. So there are good to have a credit card. You can really, there's sometimes, especially COVID, persons don't take cash, right? So having a credit card is a good way, it's a, you know, easy way to pay. So, you know, it's a business, and with a business, you're going to promote it, get as many sales as they can. However, it's really for us and those in our circles, we keep encouraging them to use it wisely.
Now, there's something we haven't mentioned about credit cards though. There's the fees and the interests. So it's not just that they make a sale Literally every store now has a financial services arm. So they're all like banks right now. So PC has gone all full banking on us. They have the PC Financial, which is effectively a bank. Walmart has similar, Canadian Tire has similar, Home Depot has similar, all of them offering credit cards. So when you go there and you say, oh, they offer you a credit card, there's kind of an expectation that, okay, you're going to miss some payment eventually. When you miss a payment, there's going to be interest on the outstanding balance. There's going to be fees for missing the payment, right? And God bless you if they actually tried to take the money and the money was not there. Your bank will charge you an NSF, not sufficient funds fee, and they will charge you an NSF, not sufficient funds fee, and you may find out that those two fees are more than the amount you're supposed to pay put together, and you're still going to pay everything. So it's something to be very careful about. It's a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad. I personally, I have a points reward card, and I don't remember the last time I paid for any of my relatives to fly into the country. I would just take out my points, buy a nice flight ticket, and send it to them,
Yeah.
and they're here, boom, and I'm happy. I like that. But I also know that if I don't pay that thing on time, the interest is gonna bite me, and I'm gonna take the ding on my credit score, and on and on and on. So this is quarter two. They still have like 2 or 3 points. Ways to repair credit. So if life has happened, your credit score is in the doldrums. You're like 350. You've decided, okay, I'm going to cut up. I'm not closing the account. I'm just going to cut up the credit cards, and I'm going to go and get a cash-backed credit card, which is what I'll use to buy groceries and pay for transport going forward, which means I'm spending my own money. What else can I do to repair my credit score?
Okay, so a few things you can do is one, sometimes they're even looking at how often you move. So if it's possible, I mean, you never know with life, right? If you can avoid moving often, like you're living here today, next month you move, and just bear that in mind that some institutions do look at that. Another thing which you should do to help repair your credit is not to skip a payment. Like even COVID, there was, oh, well, you can skip a payment. You have to pay this month, your mortgage. So some of those things do affect your credit. And you don't want to be in a situation where it's getting your credit score lower and not higher. So that's something else you could do. And definitely review your report. So you want to get certain negative information, remove from your credit report as you're building. So there are institutions, I think the main ones here are Equifax and TransUnion, where you can sign up for free and you can look at your credit report, your credit score, and underneath they have your credit report. What is it that impacted your score? Did you miss a payment here, there, all of that? So look at that closely, especially if, let's say, you paid off one bill, you want to make sure that it is reported to those institutions and you're seeing it on your credit report. Another thing, as you repair your credit, is to understand the bills that impact your credit score, your phone bill, your cable, sometimes even day-to-day purchases. So you want to understand that, and it goes back to looking at your credit report to see, okay, which spending are impacting my credit score so I can spend wise, spend in a better way. Another thing which you can do is, again, we spoke about closing accounts, be cautious of that. You also want to, as much as possible, have a plan to repay that amount to build your credit. So it's either you're going to cut spending or increase your income. It just boils down to that. So it's not just, and to be honest, sometimes what else can we cut, right? We have to be realistic. What else can we cut? So it's like that equation, right? You might have to now look at how can I increase my income? It might be getting side jobs or, whatever works for your family and your dynamic. So think of how you can really take those steps to repay. There are lots of schools of thoughts on how you should pay off those loans. Some persons will say pay the small amounts first. Some will say pay a little bit on each. Some will say tackle the biggest ones. But I do recommend that you pay off the ones that are impacting your credit score in the highest way first. right? So if you get those off first or lower, then your credit score will gradually improve. And monitor, monitor, monitor. Keep your eyes on that credit report so you can know what's changing, what errors. Sometimes there are errors, right? And you can make that call to say, you need to fix this and so forth. I'll quickly throw in another thing is while you're rebuilding your credit, and this is especially if you're going to consider purchasing a vehicle or a home mortgage, always ask the institutions in those preliminary stages, you're checking what you qualify for, to do a soft check versus a hard check. When they do a hard check, it's hitting your credit score right away. You don't want that. So make sure you're clear as you're seeing if I qualify, what I qualify for. Make sure it's a soft check. I do not want your check, your investigation to impact my credit score. So these are some of the things as you're repairing your credit, you do keep your eyes on.
Fantastic. Tyre, go ahead.
No, I two things I was just going to add. If it's possible, if you do have a lot of credit card debts, if it's possible for you to have all your credit card debts rolled up into a personal loan, once again, that goes to a good relationship with your relationship manager. They might be able to roll it up. If you have 40 grand, 50 grand in a debt, you might be able to roll it into a personal loan and just pay one easy monthly payment, right? And that way you're not stressed. And then of course you cut up the rest of the credit card so that you don't go back and use them again. Yeah, and so I was going to say one more thing, I lost my train of thought, but that's really important that you know this. And the second thing I was going to say is, when you sit in front of a personal banker, you can ask questions. What I find is most people don't know what questions even to ask, or they're a bit nervous because they're like, it's the banker, it's the banker. There are many branches. If one is not working for you, go to the next one. You know, you literally can get up and go to the next branch and ask them the question. Do you know what I mean? I have been in a bank where I was asking them for something, and the guy totally had no idea. And I said, oh, that's fine. And I went into the next, same bank, different branch, and I met somebody who was more knowledgeable. So if you're ready to do the work, you'll get what you want, you know, so don't give up and ask questions. Don't feel daunted by that. That's all. And the fact that they're on the other side of the table from me doesn't mean that they know everything. They you know, you might be dealing with a first day trainee. I've ever dealt with somebody who goes, oh, this is my first day here, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if you guys have met. I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first day. Imagine who that was the person on the application. You know, they'll learn it in time, but they shouldn't use you as a guinea pig.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, somebody's asking what are the best credit check platforms. Credit Karma works, TransUnion, Equifax, you can RBC, you know, if you can log into the
so
RBC.
RBC uses TransUnion, Scotia Bank also uses TransUnion. So
Not
I think
on the
all
app.
the banks, all the banks have plugins to TransUnion or Equifax to provide credit
Not on the
information.
app though. On the online banking, I think you can pull your credit score.
Yeah, even on the app, I know Scotia Bank allows you to pull your credit on their app. Sorry guys, we have one more question, and I know that this is a question that you all would like answers to. Tyre and Kirsha, how can you use credit to increase wealth? Because we've been talking about credit like it's a bad thing, and that, you know, people are going to, hello, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
We can see
went
you.
dark. Credit is not a bad thing. Come back, Dot. So come to the light.
I'm still here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to keep talking. So
okay.
how can we use credit to increase wealth?
So a lot of the businesses, let me speak in that, you know, they actually don't spend cash. They actually go to the bank and say, I'm a construction company and I've done $500 million in work for this company, City of Calgary, for example. They will pay me, but I need to do work for City of Okotoks. Can you loan me money so that when I get paid, and I'll give that back to you? So what ends up happening is a lot of these companies run on what they call an operating line. So it's really not their own cash that they are using. So if you can run your business and your life on an operating line where you take the credit card or the credit facility you have, you run a business is successful, you pay the credit back and you have something left, then credit will generate wealth for you. You just have to make sure that though, because the thing with all those companies though is when the recession hit and when COVID happened, all of them got government subsidy, and they had what was it, the wage subsidy, the I'm blanking on the wage subsidy and the other subsidy.
Wage subsidy, rent subsidy.
The rent subsidy and the wage subsidy.
All
So if you're
sorts
not
of
gonna,
subsidies.
yeah, so the companies will get subsidy. So that helped them with their credit facilities at the bank. So BMO didn't go after, or RBC or TD won't go after them because government is backing this one up. If you don't have a government subsidy, plan it well. Personal government subsidy to relieve you, plan it well. But yes, you can use credit card to generate wealth, which is planning.
Yeah, and I'll quickly add to Talia's point that there are a lot of determinations for wealth. So one of them is if you have a lot of real estate, money in your account, and so forth, as other types of assets. So think of it. One example I'll quickly use is that with real estate, if you have a good credit score, you're able to say, okay, be in a position where you can purchase or get mortgages on multiple houses. You can rent them out, and the rent covers the mortgage, and you're building your portfolio, through your real estate portfolio like that through credit, not having to find $1 million, 500,000, 300,000 to buy a house. You can just have that mortgage and you're building your portfolio along the way. And do remember that with credit, it can be informal too. It can be Doton's. I go to Doton and say, okay, I need this money to do this. That's another informal way as well. So look at all the options and always remember, credit gives you options.
Wow.
Good credit gives you options.
Good.
Yes. Good
No,
credit.
bad credit gives you options too. It just may not be the kind of options you want.
Yes.
Okay, this has been a good conversation for me. I think we've
Oh, there's
answered.
a question in the chat, Doton. More came in the chat.
Oh, okay. Why does it appear that the credit score on both platforms are different? I'm going to take a stab at this. The reason is this: the organizations have different methodologies. Their general consensus is as far as how a line of credit is weighed versus a mortgage versus a cell phone bill of $50 that has gone into collection. There are certain metrics that are agreed, but in terms of the specifics of how those transactions are treated, there are mild differences. So one platform may say that your score is 730, the other one may say it's 740 or 720. But it's very unlikely that one platform will say that your credit score is 900 and the other one says it's 350. It's highly unlikely. They're both going to agree on generally where to put you based on the information that they have. So are the numbers exactly the same? No. Are the results of the numbers the same? Yes. So don't think about it. Just pay that bill, that credit card bill before the statement date. Avoid missing payments on any of your credits. If you have anything that you owe that seems to have disappeared and you can't find it, most likely you have a collection situation. Go hunt it down, call them up, tell them you're going to pay. If you can pay it one fell swoop, pay it. If you can't, pay it up over time. The most important thing is if you borrow, pay back. That's the only way that you're on the good books of the system. So T, thanks you for asking this question. This was very good. Where can we rewatch online? So I'm going to give you the whole shebang of why we're here and what we're doing. My name is Dr. Ayodele of Startup Court. This is webinar number 5 of 6 of part of the Way Out of Rat Race project that we started in June. The webinars started in the month of August. This is the 5th one, like I've said. These webinars are brought to you in conjunction with the Africa Center with offices in Calgary and Edmonton, as well as the Calgary Foundation. The Calgary Foundation is a philanthropic organization that has been in the city of Calgary for more than 50 years, supporting not-for-profits and organizations that have a social cause like Startup Court. At Startup Court, our goal is simple. We want to educate, we want to empower, and we want to see our people who follow us, listen to us, participate in our events, build wealth. That is who we are, and that is what we do. We have a YouTube channel, which is basically a plugin of our Afro focused website, africaextended.com. Our YouTube channel is Africa X Media, and you can find the recordings of the first 2 videos right there on the Africa X Media YouTube channel. If you can help me put that there, let me see. I'll try and put that in the chat. In addition to that, you will find the @Way Out a Rat Race handle on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, where we've been sharing lots of content on budgeting, on financial literacy, on cash management, budgeting from zero, budgeting when you have no money. You know, we've been sharing that kind of content since the beginning of the project, and we will continue to do that. You're free to join our mailing list at wayoutaratrace.com, where we are going to be archiving all of the content that we've been sharing and the rest that we're going to be developing in the coming months. It's going to be a learning management system type platform with videos and articles, blog posts, quizzes, all geared towards better informing us as people of color in North America building wealth. So that's who we are, and that's what we are doing. And I think we have just 1 minute left. Can I take one comment? One person who would like to speak. Can I see your hand? One person. I'm not seeing. Yeah, Bukola, go ahead. Unmute yourself, show us your face, and yes, share your comment. We're happy to take your comment.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so
Hello.
much for this. Credit score has been something that's been a great area for me, especially when it came down to minimum payment due date, statement date, and all of that. And I remember calling the bank at some point to like, excuse me, I need credit 101 course for this, my credit card, you know. And so this is very helpful and informative. Thank you so much. Thank you, T, for Ty, for sharing your story. That is very touching. I really appreciate that we can actually come out with our stories, and it's a learning point for all of us. So thank you so much for this. Thank you, Kirsha. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you
Okay,
so much. That was really nice.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Bukola, for that comment. I really appreciate it. So right now it's 7 p.m. I want to say thank you to everyone who has spent part of the last hour talking to us, listening to us, sharing their stories, asking their questions. Thank you very much, Kirsha, for coming to share your knowledge. Like Emmanuel has shared the Africa X YouTube channel, you'll find the videos for the first 2 sessions there. The next 3 will follow very shortly. On Sunday at 6 p.m., we'll be talking consumerism. And with me will be Shayo Tola Adenaike, who on social media is known as the finance mom. All things money, all things family, all things building wealth, of which how you spend the money is a good part. So we'll be talking consumerism, and that will be the last of our sessions, webinars in this series. So we're looking forward to having you on then. You will get, if you've not registered yet, kindly register on Eventbrite. The registration information is important to us. The attendance information is important to us. And we are definitely going to be coming with more of these in-person sessions, the website, all of that we're going to be sharing with you as they come on stream. So thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate you. Emmanuel Oluwatosin, thank you very much, as usual, for being my partner in crime in getting this done. I know you like to be the puppet master. Continue to puppet master away. With that, I would like to say good evening and bye for now.